Everyone, my name is Gwen. I'm Tabby Chair, and I am very excited to be here tonight. I'm going to be talking to the amazing Andrea Aste about his new deck. I'm not going to tell you anything else right now. I just wanted to say hello because now I'm going to invite Andrea to join me. And this might take a second because this always takes me a second, so I do apologize. Oh, there he is. Okay, so fingers crossed. Let's see. Okay. Okay, sounding hopeful. Let me try again.
And here we
Hey!
are! Yay! Hello, Gwen. Good night. How
Yes,
are
yes.
you?
Oh, it's so nice to see you.
Yes, I'm under dramatic light here in the castle.
Yes.
I'm in the studio because I'm working out. I'm exploring the last rooms of the castle. I mean, last. There are
Oh,
always something new in the castle to discover. So it's quite fascinating, quite a fascinating journey.
yes, absolutely. Oh, it's so exciting. I love your chair as well.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Wait, I try to give you
Yes.
a little bit of
Oh, very
history.
nice. Oh,
Yes.
so is that the deck? Is that the box?
Yes, this is the box. I will share it. And this is
Okay.
the first G-clay I printed. It's the Six of Swords of the deck.
Oh,
Now it's a little
lovely.
bit dark here, but I mean, this is
Yeah.
my little studio. I love this corner
Ah,
of
brilliant.
my
Yeah.
studio. I mean, I like staying here, and working at night, reading or drawing in this chair. It was a dream of mine, this chair. But you noticed, you already noticed. This is
Yeah,
the box
yes, I did. I
of
saw it. I was,
of
yes,
the
because I have backed this
yeah.
amazing deck and I'm so excited. I can't wait to get it. And, I've been looking at your page and everything. So I am ready. I am ready for it
And
to arrive.
I have to be honest, it's an incredibly exciting Kickstarter campaign because we managed to create a sense of community. There is the
Hmm.
idea of exploring the castle. I mean, for those
Yes.
who doesn't know what the castle is, I created this deck that is called the Tarot of Cross Destinies,
Yeah.
where every single card, every single tarot is a room in a magic castle. And the
Okay.
castle, I mean, is peculiar because you enter into these rooms and they are gigantic. You find mountains, oceans, and rivers. They are gigantic. And everyone is a tarot card. And
Oh,
the castle every night shuffle these rooms like a pack of cards. So when you exploring the castle, you walk on the on his room and you have a question in your mind or you want to discover something, the castle answer you, making you enter in the rooms to answer your questions or give you
yes.
ideas like that. So it's a very magical and fantastic place. So we created this
Good.
sense of exploration, community, and it's amazing. Everything
Yeah.
started from my passion of Calvino works, the castle
Yes.
of Cross Destinies. This is, I mean, I'm quoting, I'm honoring his book
Yes.
in the title of the
Absolutely.
deck.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing book. For those who doesn't know it, I try to make
Mhm.
a very long story very short. Imagine a group of travelers that are lost in a wood and they found refuge in a castle. But as soon as they enter the gates of the castle, they lose the ability of talking. So they try to talk. No sounds is coming out from
Mm.
their mouth. But they found a deck of tarot cards on a table. And they started to shuffle the cards, take one, two, watch it, examine, and they found that every one of them is portrayed as one of the court cards in the
Mm.
deck. So
Mm.
they start to narrate in the story, taking the first card, like the card of reference to themselves, and they create line and row when every single story of everyone is connected. It's a magical castle,
Yes.
magic square, where every single row, every single line
Ah,
intersects and cross with all the others.
okay.
And so all the stories are crossed. And I love the book. It's a book that
Yeah.
is very funny, it's very quirky,
Yeah.
but the important thing is the philosophy behind it. Calvino
Hmm.
made a literal experiment based
Hmm.
on tarot. He wanted to know and to see what kind of story can emerge looking at the tarot cards, using tarot card like storytelling devices, not knowing the traditional meaning of the cards. So he
Hmm.
said, I want to see what comes to my mind watching at the
Oh.
cards, if I can create a story.
So he didn't know. He didn't know he was not familiar with tarot that much.
He was fascinated, but he didn't want to
Uh-huh.
study the deep meaning and everything. He wanted to
Yeah.
use them in a more intuitive way. So it's an
Yes.
experiment of how meaning is built. So very, very philosophical and very artistical at the
Yes.
same time. So I wanted to quote his, I mean, I want to
Yeah.
celebrate this book because
Absolutely. Yeah.
he's absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's with me from when I was a child. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
read it and reread it and reread it, and finally I have the time and the idea to make this castle alive and
Yeah.
transform it in a tarot deck, narrating different stories, and so that the storytelling part of the deck is important. And this is the
Absolutely.
reason
Yeah.
why a Miriorama. So
Yes.
Murion.
So what is a Miriorama? What is that?
Yes, a Miriorama is a deck where every single card connects graphically with all
Hmm.
the others.
Okay.
It's a portmanteau word, so it's a composite word between two, composed by two words. One is Murion, ancient
Hmm.
Greek, for which we have myriad in English,
Okay.
and orama, like panorama. So it's a multitude
Nice.
of cards
Yes.
that create a panorama, a
Okay.
view, because
Wow.
usually they in the
Yes.
Victorian era they create panoramic view, so you have hills and rivers and woods and little town, and when you move the cards around you create another panorama, another view.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's an interesting concept, very complicated to
Brilliant. I
create
bet.
something like that. Now
I bet. Yeah.
technically it's not easy at all, because
No.
imagine to have the design, the graphic, the illustration of something like
Yes.
70, 80 cars, every single one has to be connected with the other. You have
Oh,
to find a way to do it, a
yes.
mechanism without ruining the cards, without impoverish the beauty of the illustration of the
Yes,
meaning
of
of the cards,
course.
because at the end we want to create something that is meaningful too, not just beautiful. And I
Yes.
love that. I mean, imagine a deck that every card is connected. It's like mimicking our mind, the stream of consciousness, the stream of a storyteller, the stream of reading tarot, where
Hmm.
ideas are flowing. And I love that. I love it a lot.
Yeah, it's wonderful because it seems to me, when I was looking at the cards on the Kickstarter website and you've got them laid out so you can see, how a progression might be working. And it's just because you're in the room, aren't you? You're, in the deck, you're in the room. It's not, I don't know, it does bring you in more, I think, than you
Yeah.
usually are in tarot decks, just sort of present.
That was one of my, how can I say, pivotal point when I started to create the deck. I wanted to do something. I wanted to. I mean, the idea was starting from Calvino, the idea of the castle, the tarot as a meaningful object, and then it started to connect them. So the Miriorama. But then I wanted that the reader enter into the card. Think about it. No, I don't have here the card, unfortunately. I mean, it was just a bad print of a card. But imagine the tower. The tower, instead of representing the viewer, is in the classical representation of the
Hmm.
tower. Marseille or Rider-Waite,
Hmm.
you are distant. You see the hills almost on the horizon, and you see distant, far away, a tower collapsing. You see people falling, but I mean, it's there. You are not part of the scenery. You're
Hmm.
just watching the collapse.
Hmm.
In the tower of the Tower of Cross Destinies, you are inside the tower while it's collapsing. So you see the lightning entering into the room,
Hmm.
destroying the walls, everything is falling apart, and you're on there. Everything is collapsing around you.
Hmm.
So the feeling that you have when you read it, when you watch it, the one that I had when I create the card, is not to be a spectator, but
Hmm.
to live this kind of cosmic collapse. Because if you think about the meaning of the tower, it's very deep. It's the collapse of our reality, of our illusion.
Hmm.
It's the collapse of something we rely on.
Hmm.
And it's a
Yes.
sudden one, it's a catastrophic one, it's a traumatic one.
Hmm.
And watching it by distance, I mean, you are safe. While you are
Mm.
inside the tower where it's collapsing, you are not safe anymore. You
Mhm.
collapse with
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And I want that
Yeah.
feeling. I play a lot this kind of game, or what is outside now is an inside, and or the other way around. I wanted to play with the perspective to give new ideas. A change of perspective usually is a change of of our connection of the world. I don't know
Yeah.
if you like an old film. Now I try to remember the English name. Sorry, but we know that you know the Italians translate every film and then we change the title. So every time I have to think about the Dead Poets Society was the title.
Yes.
It was. I mean, I was a teenager when he went out the
Yes, me
film,
too. Yeah.
and oh gosh, if I love it. At a certain point, it's a
Yeah.
story of a professor
Yes.
teaching in a complete modern way, very emotional, very powerful. Try to teach the passion for literature and freedom, and
Yeah.
build your own dreams through life. At a certain point, he made the students jump off on the
Yeah.
desk, on the teacher
Yeah.
desk. Why you are here? I mean, why you think I'm doing this exercise to you? And they don't know how to answer. He says, because it's important in life to change perspective, the point of
Hmm.
view. And I love that. It's
Mm.
important.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also a way of embodying the message, isn't it? Because like just as in your deck, you are really embodying the card in a different kind of way because you're becoming part of the card. And I was noticing when I was looking through your deck again that there are no people in it. I mean, there are some sort of characters in the court cards. I suppose you couldn't really get away from doing something in the court cards. And I do have to mention the mouse in the Hanged Man. I love the mouse in the Hanged Man. He's just so wonderful. Um, but before I go on, I do want to mention a couple of comments that we have here.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I don't see
Ter-
the comments, so yes, please.
Yes, so Terry says she missed the beginning, so she wants to know whether we really need to have read The Castle of Crossed Destinies before we
No.
use your deck.
No, absolutely not. It's just the point of reference. It's the starting point of an idea. It's like I don't know if you read I don't know the Tolkien of Narnia wanted to create a tarot deck with
Hmm.
some of the ideas that you find in the book, but then you develop and you create your own world, your own idea, and everything. So no, it's just the starting point. Is my passion a philosophical idea, an artistic idea, and it's just the beginning. It's the what in German is called the Ursprung, the point of origin, the original
Okay.
point of
Yes.
something.
Yes, yes, your inspiration. And especially because it's something that you've loved all your life. So it's really, you know, integral to you.
Yeah.
It's not just something that because I get inspired myself. I pick something up that's new and think, oh, yes, and then I'm off. But when it's something that's always been part of your life, it's different, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, I grew up with Calvino books, so
Hmm.
much so that whenever I was in the high school, I started to call it Uncle Calvino. And so everyone thought it was really my uncle. I said, no, I call it Uncle because for me he's like a mentor, inspirational guide. I started writing, mimicking his style. I mean, it's one of my biggest dreams is to illustrate his books, and I would like to, and I think I will do it. Unfortunately, I don't have the right to publish the books, Calvino, but I can illustrate and I create an art exhibition
Yes.
about it. And I will do it because it opens your mind. It's like
Hmm.
Borges. If you like Borges, you will like Calvino, and it's the kind of author that play with words, play with fantasy in a very deep philosophical way,
Hmm.
without boring the reader and without killing with difficulties.
Yes.
Is poetic. It's pure poetry. I really love it.
Yes. Yes,
But you said
definitely.
something about the castle. You said no person out there. No, absolutely not. I mean, just what you said right. In the castle, the only person that is alive is the explorer, is the reader, is you when you shuffle the cards and you play. Because I wanted to put the focus on the reader.
Hmm.
You are inside the castle. You enter into the tarot deck, into every single card. You are there in the card. So I don't want a distraction. Every figure that you find there is of a skeleton, of a ghoul, a ghost. They are there because they have a symbolic meaning. They are shadow from different times, shadow from the past, take us from the future, because at the end when you look at the tarot cards, when you use it, it is like mingling with time, space and time. You bend space and time to answer your question, to peep into the future, or just to have laid a mirror in front of your soul, because this is, I mean,
Yes.
is the way I prefer to use tarot, not for clairvoyancy, but for reading my soul, clarifying my thought, my feelings, my perception of the world. I like to use the tarot in a more psychological way, if you want. And I
Yes.
don't say that other way of using them are wrong. I say just this is the one I prefer. Then, of course, sometimes we do some good divination reading, but it's different. I mean, it's
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about as I was reading it, because as you were talking about the psychological aspect of tarot, and you do, well, a lot of us do. We tend to apply, psychological principles here, and I know that Eva is here. Eva has wished you a happy birthday.
oh, thank you so much.
And so we
Yeah.
have Jung Coaching Tarot here. So I was thinking about the concept of symbols and how they help you, especially with the tarot, they help you get out of your rational mind.
Yeah.
And so again, looking at the deck is so different. I mean, just looking at the pictures on the Kickstarter, you're looking at the major arcana, and there are so many symbols in it that you don't expect to see. I think that you have. I think it might be the suit of pentacles, and there are cups in it. There are a couple of cups in there, which I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then some other symbols that I think are going to take a little bit of working through. And I just wondered what you were thinking about that kind of use of symbols to get people out of rationalizing things.
Yeah, you noted. I mean, I studied when I was in high school. I studied ancient Greek and then Latin. In university, I studied philosophy of language. For me, symbology, symbolism. I mean, the symbols, the glyphs, and everything that I mean, everything that has in inside a part of meaning of some meaning is incredibly interesting. And so, whenever I create a tarot deck, my first goal is try to, I mean, to study the meaning of the card, let's say the traditional meaning of the card, and then try to open windows to no traditional meanings, to other layers, in such a way to enrich the tarot cards
Mm-hmm.
with something that is more modern or something that is more challenging, like aspect, questions, or doubts. And so every symbol so you find, like there are columns with engraving, there are walls with wallpaper or frescoes, there are details like the mouse that you
Oh, okay,
mentioned
the
before,
wallpaper.
there are
Okay, I have to look
brackets.
at the wallpaper. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are
Yeah,
every single part,
yeah,
every single detail add a meaning to the tarot card. So
yeah,
they are not there just for a game of intellect or for the
yeah.
beauty of the illustration. No, I try to do something very specific, like in the Hermit. If you look around on the left of the card, you find the Hecate symbol. And I wanted to refer Hecate because the hermit, I mean, is this meandering around, looking around to be, is always to be in a liminal space. If you want,
Hmm.
is in a limbo because he's looking for something. And maybe he
Hmm.
doesn't even know what he's looking for. I think
Hmm.
about a figure that I really, every time I think about the hermit, coming to my mind is Rumi. Uh, the poet and the creator of the Swirling Sufi. There was a
Hmm.
period on his time when he was
Hmm.
quite, I don't want to say lost, but unsatisfied. And he
Hmm.
find a man, now that I cannot pronounce his name, I think it's Shraik, I mean, I don't remember it. It's difficult to pronounce it correctly, I read in different languages. But anyway, he found um, a person that challenged his point of view and changed completely perspective on his life.
Hmm.
And he was an hermit in this kind of meaning. The
Hmm.
Brits, yes.
Yeah,
And I like that. I
yeah.
like this kind of people. And so, I mean, this kind of meaning, this kind of references. And I wanted to connect the card with this kind of reality. Because every single card, you can watch it like, let's say, like I will say a constellation of meanings, traditional one, but
Hmm.
if you enlarge everything, if you go deeper and deeper and deeper, or you can see that every single card can connect it with, I don't know,
Hmm.
music, chemistry, alchemy, literature, history,
Yeah.
politics, economy. I mean, there are lots of concepts that you can put into the cards to deepen the meaning.
Hmm.
I think about the devil every time. I like to challenge people on the reading of the devil because
Hmm.
I mean, the devil can be, as usual, an addiction, something to change
Yeah.
you on a situation. But for me, whenever I think about the devil, I think about Milton, Paradise Lost. I think about Goethe, so the
Yeah.
Faust. So the devil is the
Yeah.
one that dare to say no, to rebel to an order that is overimposed. It's very romantic as a view. But if you think about the devil instead, then if you know a little bit of history, if you go around, you see that the devil is built around the figure of Pan. So
Hmm.
there are lots of elements of this kind of bestiality of Pan that is then in the devil. And then you think about the over-sexualizing aspect of the devil. Or
Hmm.
for all the Middle Ages, they say that in Latin, virtus diaboli in lombis est. The virtue of the devil is in the hips. I mean, is sex. I mean,
Yeah.
the witches were accused to have sex with the devil.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Pan. This is the orgastic nature of nature. And the
Yeah.
devil represents in this way our
Yeah.
instinct, our
Yes.
feral nature, the nature that we are, let's say, men before civilization. Before the civilization bring in the taboos, the laws, you have to, if you
Yes.
think about Nietzsche, Nietzsche break everything again. I mean,
Yes.
the Superman, and I mean, is interesting, is absolutely fantastic. So
Yeah.
things, I mean, we have just quote one card, the devil. Look how magnify the meaning, how can be magnified the meaning of the symbol card from Nietzsche to other philosophy, to points of view, to literature. And this is what I would like to do with my tarot deck. Try to
Yeah.
give like a little bit of hints here and there and let people having fun.
Yes. Yes, because I have to go back now and look at all the details. But one thing I do remember about the devil, which I thought was, I've never seen before, is you just have, can I say, I don't want to
Yeah,
ruin
yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
of course, of
yes,
course.
okay. So there's like a dark doorway and there's stuff around it, of course, but there's this dark doorway and there's just sort of eyes there. And I really liked that because the first thing that came to mind is like, well, what's your devil? And so we don't know what it is. And I really liked the
Yeah,
feel of that card. Yeah.
I think that growing up, I mean, life give you experience, of course, because there are challenges, there are sufferings, there are dreams, there are difficulties, there are hopes. I mean, life is amazing, is a journey. But then you realize that the real danger in life is not recognizing your demon, is not recognizing the bad, the evil that you have inside.
Hmm.
Think about people that is overzealous. They think to be right.
Mm.
We act in the name of the Lord. They do, and then they crush everything and everyone around. And
Mm.
they don't realize that they are become the devil that they wanted to banish from the world.
Hmm.
So this is the reason why I didn't want to draw the devil in my new deck.
Hmm.
I would you see just the two eyes,
Mm.
because the
Yeah.
evil that is most dangerous is the one that you don't see coming, is the one that you don't
Mm.
recognize, is the one that has no face that you can recognize. Because be honest, if someone ring at the door and you open and you find someone with wings and horns and then you see, oh, the devil is you. But
Yeah.
imagine if the devil is dressed like, I don't know, in suit and black tie and is elegant and is very
Yes.
refined and talk well.
Yes.
Did you recognize him? I don't think I
Yes.
will. This
Yes.
is
Well, yes.
fascinating.
It's true. It reminds me of one of the early episodes of The Twilight Zone, and there was the story is that there's an elderly lady, and she's terrified of dying. She's terrified of death, and so she doesn't open the door to anybody. But then one night, somebody knocks on the door, and it's this very handsome, like 20-year-old Robert Redford at the door wearing a suit, and so she opens the door and lets him in, and of course he is death. And it's a really wonderful play on that, just like what you were saying. It's something that maybe not what you're expecting, and yeah, it was.
I think people that like Starro, people that use Starro, I think they have already done further step that a lot of people they don't approach tarot because they are close or protected by the scientific approach to life.
Mhm.
I love the occult, you know it. I mean, I founded a magazine about occult and everything. I created tarot deck. The point for me is leaving the door open to the unknown, to the unexplainable, into the
Mm.
poetry
Yeah.
of the unknown. Because otherwise life will become too banal, too flat, too predictable, too shallow. There are
Mhm.
lots of things that we cannot explain, that maybe we will never explain, that will never demonstrate, but they are part of our human nature. Think about ghosts. Every single culture, from the Babylonian, I mean, the ancient ghost stories coming from Babylon time. Can you
Mhm.
imagine they found it in cuneiform in a tablet?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. So, are they real? I don't know. I would like to think that they are, because
Yeah.
it's more fascinating to live in a world where they are a possibility instead of living in a world they are an absolute negative. No, they are not.
Yeah.
And
Yes. Yes, I like that idea as well. So there's a question here from Eva. So she says, slight change of topic here. Not exactly related to the Cross Destinies deck, but I'm interested in Andrea's outlook on AI in creating a deck. Is there anything positive about it, or is it all bad?
it's an intriguing question and very controversial because now everything, every time you see AI, you are banned from contest to publishing and everything. I think that AI is a tool.
Mhm.
And it depends on how you use it. If you sit in your chair, let's say, not knowing anything about astrophysics, and you say, okay, let's say ChatGPT, write an essay about astrophysics, and then you publish it, this
Yeah.
is cheating and this is disgusting. Or let's say that, no, I
Yes.
mean, it is, because you don't know
Yes, well,
anything
it
about.
is, yes.
I
You're
mean,
not going to
if I
get
will
anything
do
out
it,
of
I
that.
don't know
Yeah.
anything about astrophysics. So, I mean, why?
Yes.
No, there are experts, there are people that study, so you cannot do
Hmm.
something like that. And let's say that you don't know how to draw, and you make a graphic novel and everything. I feel a little bit sad. But let's say something different. Let's reverse. It depends on what, I mean, the purpose or how you
Hmm.
use it. Let's say that you have an idea, but like, an idea about a film, but you have no, you started to talking about contacting producer, but you are no one. You are someone that never worked in the show business, but you have this idea and you know that this film can change the mind of many people because it's important. The meaning of it is really pivotal. It's important in our society, but no one want to give you the money to ask for strangers to do it. Now you can do it with AI. Is a good thing or not a bad thing? I think it's a good thing because it free your your mentality, your creativity. But then if you're a publisher and you don't give work to real people and you just do all the job with AI, well, I think
Mm.
this is bad because
Mm.
I mean, it's a tool that should be used by creative mind to magnify the creativity. It's like, let's say, the iPad. I work a lot with the iPad. And I mean, I was always despised digital art, but I mean, when I was young, because I mean, it was different. It was the beginning. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, I was wrong in doing it. So I want to make very, very clear that I was completely wrong in doing it. But I was living in a very conservative country, Italy, where art is painting on canvas. And I
Yeah.
was forced to do that when I wanted to do animation and everything. But anyway, a different story. But then, when I started moving around and I was not able to work with my easel and the oil color and everything, I
Yeah.
started to paint in the iPad. And I found my freedom. I found an instrument that was magnifying my creativity. It was difficult at the beginning because you like the
Mm.
color and mixing and get dirt. I mean, creating something
Yeah.
physical is an
Yeah.
incredibly feeling,
Hmm.
incredibly amazing sensation. But then I fallen in the rabbit hole of the digital world. I mean, all the deck that you've seen is done with the iPad. It's digital painting. The Book of Shadow, the Ghastly and Norman, they are digital painting because
Hmm.
it's easier. Because
Yeah.
not faster, but it's easier because
Yeah.
instead of if I work on paper, I need a specific time, space to organize the studio and everything, and then you have to take a picture of it to give it
Hmm.
to a publisher, to a printing process or a publisher if you want to, and
Hmm.
then the colors will never be the same. But if you work
Yes.
already digitally, you control the color, so you know exactly which color to use and not to use if you're going to go to a printing process. So at the end, it's very technical, it's
Yeah.
amazing, magnified. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, one of the first old painter using the iPad for painting was David Hockney, the Big Splash, the author of the Big Splash. I mean, he's an amazing painter. He's very, very famous for his painting.
Yeah.
And now I think he's 80 something, and he started to use the iPad. They promote the iPad, giving him one and said paint, and he did it, and he was amazed. And he said, I can stay here in my car, and because it's cold outside, it's raining, and I just draw it. This is
Yeah.
freedom. So it
Yeah.
depends on how you use it. If you use it to make money in the way easy way possible, just to cheating, I mean, for me, this is cheating. There are lots of people
Yes.
that want to cheat because they want the quick success and money and fame and okay, I mean, it's their problem. I think if they manage to look at themselves in the mirror, it's their problem. I, I love creating, and for me, if I use AI, I use it to help me. I still
Yeah.
have to do it. I have in mind to use it for using for something that I cannot do alone. To
Yes.
create other reality, to explore, to
Yes.
magnify, to check something. And I think this
Yes.
is important. I don't know if I answer. I mean, we
Yes.
can
Yes.
spend
Oh, I'm
for
sure.
hours.
Yes. Yeah. So it just reminds me of your deck again, actually, because it is such an interactive deck, and I do think that it's a little bit, it's more interactive. I think I was going to hedge a little bit, but I was like, no, actually it is. It's more interactive than any other deck that I've used. And there's something really nice about that because there is, whenever you buy a new tarot deck, there's always the artist behind the deck.
Yeah.
And, I always read the guidebook because I think, well, this artist has done something particular that they want me to know about. So I read the book. But it does kind of feel like you're there. Maybe it's just because I'm quite familiar with your artwork. And so it
No,
makes me
no.
feel like you're there, sort of,
When I created,
surprise. Yeah.
no, no, you're right. When I created the Tarot Cross Destinies, I wanted to be a very playful but philosophical deep deck. This is the reason why it's a Miriorama. The idea
Yeah.
started as a philosophical concept, but then when I started to shuffle the deck and create different spread, I started to realize that the metaphor of the castle, the metaphor of the architecture is incredibly deep, because with the deck you can create infinite architecture of esoterica. You meander through rooms, through the halls, through the dungeons of the castle, and
Hmm.
you can have deeper meaning, deeper reflection, deeper intuitions. I mean, I love the deck and I'm using it a lot. I mean, and I'm looking forward to have it printed. I mean,
Yeah.
for now I have just the mock-up.
Hey, look at that. Yes, I know. I can't
Yes,
wait.
this is the
That's
is
so
digital
nice.
printed. This is the mock-up of the box. So,
Yes.
and I wanted to be part of the narrative. So it's the gates of the castle. So when you open, now I already revealed.
Oh,
I don't know. I know it's a little bit dark here. Sorry, but you
yeah.
see, there is the first card of the deck, the Fool, is there.
Yes.
So now I don't know, it's difficult. And then the printing here is very dark because it's a digital one. We did it just to test the box. And
Okay.
actually, this is the third, I think it's the third mock-up that we created.
Oh,
Because to achieve this curve with perfection,
yes.
so smooth, was incredibly difficult.
Oh,
So there are
lovely.
lots of technical things that in the creation of something like that, I mean, you have to face. And this is part
Yeah.
of the challenge of creating something. I wanted to give in a peculiar shape with a meaning and with something.
Yeah. So is that still fun though? I mean, it's, the details of getting that curved. Is that still part of the fun, or are you just like, I just want to have my publish my deck?
No, 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 no. It's part of the fun because I draw when I gave the plan for the box to the printer. I draw it with all the measure and everything. I explain what I wanted. I
Yeah.
sketch it with already the graphic and everything, and I explain it very very deeply what I wanted, the symbology of it and everything. And then they started to work on it, and they say, Andrea, we are going mad about the curvature. We have to study something different, maybe. They say, oh no, please, no. Then we try to
Oh.
find a solution. And I said, okay, what is the problem? And then I lowered the arch a
Uh,
little bit lower. So, I mean, we did a lot of tests and things.
yeah.
And at the end, it was realized. But I've been working with them for many years now, because they are the printer of the Castilian Normand, the printer of the Book of Shadows, and with them I printed other works too, books and everything for, with other photographers, with artists. I send them friends. So I mean, it's a very deep collaboration, and it's great when you can create something like that because you can trust them.
Hmm.
You know that the quality
Hmm.
is perfect, and
Hmm.
they know exactly my way of working, and so we are very smooth now, very direct, very nice, and it is great. It's amazing.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, so something else I noticed I wanted to ask you about is when you're looking at a lot of the cards, they're in doorways, as you say, and so you can walk in through the doorway. And in a couple of the cards, I didn't sort of go through and check them all, but I noticed that um, the top, instead of being a complete arch, that's like there's a kind of a and the reason I notice that is because one of the ways that I read sometimes is I lay out three cards and then three underneath, and I read going up. And so I thought, oh, now that's really interesting. What if I drew one of these cards and there was, so what was behind that?
I try to create every single card is I mean because I didn't want it to be confined with the metaphor of the architecture, so having a room of a
Okay.
corridor of a secluded space. So the castle is a magical place. So some of
Yes.
the rooms are gardens, they are cities, they are inside the castle. So they are places that are impossible to be in a normal castle, and I
Yeah.
like that. So some of
Okay.
them
Yeah.
are they are Gothic arches. Some of them are Moresque one, so the Moor arches. Or there are other ones you have like a gash, a broken wall, and then you
Okay.
see this the sun and the sky and everything. Usually the cards connect horizontally, but even vertically. The vertically is the gap between one floor and the other.
Yes.
So at the beginning, I wanted to, I draw in a few cards the thickness of the floor and the ceiling. So you have like a slice in a castle.
Oh,
But then
brilliant.
I
Yeah.
preferred to delete it because I
Yeah.
wanted more space because that was just visual. It was not bringing anything. At the end, when I noticed, I discovered that when you put the cards in vertical line or when you create a castle with
Yeah.
different floors, your mind immediately put the space that is necessary.
Yeah.
You're reading immediately as floors, so you
Yeah.
don't need any more completing the arches of everything. You have a room that have the ceiling as a sky, and then you have the floor. That is the ceiling of your car, that is the floor of the
Yes.
other one. So you create something that is more movement, and I like that.
Yes. Yes. I loved it too, actually. It was such a nice sort of like, oh, like, 'cause I'm sure that I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, as I'm using it, be like, oh, look at that. So, can you tell us a little bit about? I know that the book comes with, well, there is a guidebook. It's not a printed book, but it's this really fancy electronic thing that looks like a book, where you can,
Yeah,
virtually turn the
yeah.
pages. That,
But this time I wanted to, because there are a lot of cost in printing a book, and
mm,
I wanted to be a little bit more accessible. I said because it's already
yeah,
very expensive to create these with the cards. I mean, printing very well this kind of product is incredibly expensive. So I said, okay, the base. I prefer to have a digital booklet, but a
right,
digital booklet that is like a real book. So you have the shuffle of the sound. I mean,
yeah.
the sound of the
Oh,
shuffling of the
wow.
cards. Oh yes,
Yeah,
no, there is that, and then you can
yeah.
shuffle, you can move them, and so it's like a real book. There are bookmarks, and so it's perfect.
Oh,
And you can
brilliant.
use your mobile, your computer, or your tablet to read
Yeah.
it. And then I created a booklet that is a limited edition because I
Oh,
will print only 100.
okay.
That the idea is the Victorian book. So the book like an object of art, of beauty,
Yeah.
perfectly bound, with a very beautiful hardcover, with the spine that is bending round, is
Ah,
not square. So
yeah.
the paper is thick, is a peculiar paper. So they are bound by hand, they are created by hand. Then I will sign them, number them, and so only 80 will be are on Kickstarter. The other 20 I keep it for myself because I mean I want them for yeah,
Yes. Yes,
it is
absolutely.
important. But
Yes.
so only 80 would be in the Kickstarter campaign. But this is important because I think I wanted to create more magic because you
Hmm.
know how beautiful would be a book, and then the book is coming inside a sleeve without a
Hmm.
graphic. So you have a
Hmm.
protective sleeve, you move the sleeve away, you have this beautiful little booklet, and you go through the narration, and the content is exactly the same of the digital one. So it's
Okay.
not in the content that is the difference, but in the presentation of it.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it's interesting. And then because while I was about to launch the Kickstarter campaign, you know that a project is always a project that's so, let's say, so fascinating, so intriguing, like the Tower of Cross Destiny, because there is the metaphor of the castle, because with just already with the concept of castle, you have the dungeon, the ghost. I mean, there's such a beautiful package of ideas that are coming with the castle, the exploration, the things. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I have an idea, and I said, I need an exploration guide. And so I have here on the floor, sorry, but because there was no space to put it, I created the Explorer Journal.
Oh.
So I'm very fascinated by journaling, tarot
Yeah.
journaling. And so I created my own journal connected to the Tarot of Cross Destinies, where you have the classical representation of. So,
Mm.
but then you have something that is a little bit more storytelling driven and a little bit more cheeky. Like I want to show you this. This is one of my favorite pages. Oh, by the way, there will be then insertion with maps and little
Oh, wow.
bags where you can put things. This is the beginning of the castle. I don't know if now is
Yeah.
almost impossible to see. At the entrance of the castle, you have a series of suitcases with labels, and I ask people to name this baggage. The idea
Okay.
is to name everything you don't want to carry with you while you enter into the castle, and then you
Oh,
use the tarot to solve the problem, help you, and everything. And there are lots of games like that. I wanted to
yeah.
show you something because it's a journal, but it's a guidebook too. When there are meditation, there are exploration. Don't be afraid of the ghost you see in the cards. They are there for a reason. And
Yeah.
no, I mean, it's intriguing. Is then you see the literal.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Wow.
didn't wanted to create um, a journal that is just black and white and
Mm.
flat. Every
Mm.
single page is illustrated, presented in a single way, in a
Mm.
peculiar way. Like here, you
Mm.
have notes,
Wow.
or you call it notes and thoughts and thoughts and notes. So playing around with concept,
Yeah.
and I have a lot of fun in creating it. But this came a few days before I launched the Kickstarter campaign. So I worked really, really hard because you know when you have an idea and you immediately, puff, you are driven.
Yeah.
I've created
Yes.
many things like that. If you go on the Kickstarter page, you see like the alchemical table of tarot that is like reminiscent of the periodic table of the elements they want to use in chemistry.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I love this idea. The idea is to go to the castle, explore the castle, and I'm back with relics. So the explorer journal, because in the castle there
Of
were other
course. Yeah.
explorer, and one of the explorer left notes, left his suitcase, and the suitcase is full of magic. You find it on Kickstarter. Is a tier there. I mean, there are relics, there are objects that are coming from the castle, and sometimes there are mystery too, like
Yeah.
the extra card. The extra card
Ooh.
is coming like that inside this magic parcel
Oh. Oh.
because there are doors that are not meant to be opened by everyone. They are
Oh.
waiting for the right traveler
Oh
to open.
gosh.
And so you have, yes, it's mysterious, it's spooky. So you have a little key, you have a wax seal, and inside
That is
there is an
beautiful.
extra card. But I never reveal it, and I will never
Okay.
reveal it. So the beauty is to break the seal
Yes.
and have it. Now, this
Oh.
is, I mean, it is fascinating. I like that.
Yeah.
And
It's
the idea
wonderful.
of having something special draw, again, in a limited edition, to have fun, to create something more meaningful, an extra card and no one knows what it is. And you will
Yes.
discover when you break the seal, and already breaking it is like exploring, entering something, is a magical.
Yes.
making that
Yes,
pressing of the seal, something like is.
absolutely. Oh, wow. And so, yeah, so Terry says, you make us to feel like upgrading ourselves to the highest tier.
Well, good. No, but the idea is playing. I think that
Yes.
the most important thing is not what you pledge or what you do, is how you do it.
Mm,
This, whenever I create a tarot, I want to create a world, a storytelling, connecting the
mm,
concept, the
mm,
ideas, sustaining philosophically the
mm,
deck. And I
mm,
think I want to invite people to play with it, to
mm,
explore, to find other meanings, to play differently. I said that with this deck you can create infinite architecture of esoterica. I want to see your architectures, why you build them,
mm.
what did you find there, what is the meaning of the cards, the meaning of the things that I draw there, what is the meaning for you, what do you
Yeah.
find in the rooms that I draw, because as I said, every time I create something I like the first sentence in a dialogue, and then I wait for an answer, and so we start to talking and we start to
Mm,
communicate.
mhm.
Life is sharing. I think this is
Yes.
one of the most important parts of our life, is sharing, sharing our
Yes.
point of view, our emotion, our ideas, our concept, because only in sharing we can create a dialogue, and only creating a dialogue, in only with creating a dialogue we can grow, we can change ideas, we can modify ourselves, we can be a better person.
Yes. Absolutely. So in the guidebook, are you a spreads kind of guy? Are you no spreads, or how do you ask us to work with the cards if I come with a question? What do I do?
Oh, it's a very there is it's a very special booklet, because the booklet
Okay.
is a little bit storytelling, and
Okay.
then there is a classical part, because I wanted to describe the meaning of the cards, but I did it in my own way, like describing the card. Then I explain some of the symbols of the cards, inviting
Okay.
people to find the others and explore and do research.
Oh,
Yes, because I mean, every castle keep its secrets, not everything is
yes.
revealed. And this is important. No,
Of
this is the
course.
beauty, because if I reveal every secret in the castle, there is no point in entering anymore. I mean, everything is revealed. It's boring. No, there are secret passages. You have to study it, to watch it, to play with it. There are, from one room you can see another one. So from one tarot card you can glimpse to another one. Why like that? Why there are references? Where is leading this door? But this character, like the mouse, you mentioned the mouse, but the mouse is not
Yes.
only in one card. I think there are different places. Why? Why they are connected? But I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
answer that. You have to find that. And there are a lot of stuff that I never talk about either, because I wanted to give the mystery. You have to explore, to discover it,
Hmm.
and I like that.
Yeah.
Then there are the last session is no, then wait, in the meaning of the cards I make every single card talking, like the castle talking to you as a reader. That is something that I really really loved. I love this kind of technique by Jodorowsky. When he was talking about this card, there is always a very logical explanation of the cards, and then it was always like, if the tarot can talk, and I love it because it's forced direct speech from the card to you. I love it, and I
Mm.
use it. I like
Yeah.
Jodorowsky, I really do. As
Yeah.
a filmmaker, as an artist,
Yeah.
as a wise man, I mean, I like him. And then the last part are spreads. I invited people to create their own spreads. There are no normal spreads, but then I wanted to step further. And I said, because Calvino gave me the idea with the Castle of Cross decks, and gave me the idea and inspired me the creation of this deck, I want to go back to the name, because it's called Tarot of Crossed Destinies. So I created spreads where the destinies of the questions are crossed. And so I categorized the different way of crossing, crossing at the beginning, crossing at the middle, crossing at the end,
Okay.
and then how to use it, where to use it. And I think it's incredibly interesting. Instead of reading tarot, like, I don't know, three cards, present, past, and future, do a square and then start to read in every direction. A little bit like
Yes.
you do with Lenormand. I
Yes.
like that. I think Lenormand is, the way of reading Lenormand is very close to the way Calvino created the stories. And I wanted to reconnect everything, but we use tarot with a different mechanism, with different rules,
Hmm.
but try to make the cards narrate their own stories in a multidimensional way, not just linear, but create a castle, create an architecture esoterica,
Hmm.
six card,
Hmm.
create a
Hmm.
tower, and then read the tower top and bottom, bottom and top, or meandering zigzag like a castle. Or
Yes.
because it's a castle, I challenge the reader to which is the first card that I mean, the first room you will enter. You have six cards, three by three, a square,
Hmm.
a tower.
Okay.
What is the first card you enter in? And from there, where do you go?
Hmm.
In this way is fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, because I was thinking about what it reminded me of is, oh no, let me start. Let me back up. A friend of mine who is an author, she writes books, and so we were playing around with my tarot deck one evening, and I said, let's just write a book. And I got the idea from, Italo Calvino. And so I said, let's just write a book and lay out cards, and then we'll create the narrative as we go. And it was amazing actually what worked out because, within certain parameters, like I know what kind of book she writes and what kind of character she has, like, hey, this is your detective and this is who's going to be murdered and, that kind of thing. So, I mean, what if we tried to do that with your deck? How would that work?
It will work well because I created for this reason. I mean, I
Ah, okay.
created because no, because I have in mind the storytelling, and the storytelling is incredibly powerful. So you
Yes.
can you can use it, the idea of exploring, the idea of creating architecture, the idea of being there and navigating. I like that. I mean, there is exercises that inspire me. That's something that I really love to do with a dear friend of mine. We live in different countries, so we always live in different. We're two, the both of us are Italian, but we always, let's say, like more living outside our country. So we meet every time in different places. But one of our best exercises is asking a very deep question, and then be just a candlelight around the table with a deck of cards, and I lay down two cards and I start reading. And then he had other two cards to mine and start reading. Then I give an interpretation to his cards. We created a dialogue like the
Hmm.
Calvino style.
Hmm.
And believe me, the answer we had in this way were incredible deep because he was using, we take turn. Sometimes, yes, the first time he was asking something very personal that was matter to himself, and we were started to answer him together. Then
Hmm.
it was my turn, and we will start to answer it together. It was incredibly deep, but sometimes I have goosebumps because it was
Yeah.
so deep, so incredibly I mean, it was amazing. I really love it. And when I created this deck, I tried to remember this kind of exercises.
Yeah.
And I hope that people will find easier to read tarot in this way because they are
Yes.
connected, because they are playful, because there are many things there. And they are at the same time quite immediate because you see, I mean, today I wrote about the Emperor because you know that every Monday I publish on Substack the journey is now 1 year almost and a half that I'm sharing the Tarot Cross Destiny, the creation,
Yes.
the doubts, the sketches and everything. And sometimes I explain the philosophy behind the cards, the references and everything. And tomorrow there will be published the Emperor. The Emperor is an empty throne in a room.
Right.
So
Yes.
in that
Yes.
room,
I
but then
remember.
you find the scepter on the floor and the crown top down. It's very unsettling, and I'll explain why. Because I wanted to have a meditation that is a little bit deeper. Because
Hmm.
think about the emperor. Every time we think the emperor like the just ruler of the land,
Hmm.
out of metaphor is, I mean, it is a metaphor of many, many things. But in this specific historical time, what
Hmm.
I'm seeing is the constant search for the strong man, the leader,
Hmm.
the emperor, the emperor to lead a nation, the emperor to make great again a nation. This
Right.
is so refined because there is a problem there that is really, really, really dangerous. This is the beginning of fascism and Nazism. Hitler and Mussolini were the men of the providence. They were the savior of the nation and they destroyed the world.
Hmm.
They were absolute evil. Why? Because what we have to get rid of is this like this psychology of the savior. waiting for someone to save us. There is an author who won a Nobel Prize for literature, is Dario Fo. Dario Fo is a theater creator, translating in languages. He's an amazing man. He was. I mean, now he's deceased. He created a play. In Italian, it's called. Wait a moment. Now I have to think about. Colombo is. Tre Caravelle, Isabella un Cacciaballe. The translated in English is Isabel of Castile, the three caravels of Colombo, and then Colombo. But Colombo is called like a cheater, the cheater, because he see
Okay.
Colombo like the cheating one. But the
Mm,
meaning of the play is incredibly deep because at the end Colombo is arrested for everything is dead. I mean, a lot of it's very interesting. But the end, when he's there to be punished, he said, "You see, I waited all my life for someone else to save us, to
mm,
save me. When I realize now that
mm.
if I don't save myself, no one will do it." And so
Yeah.
the emperor for me can be a memento, a monitor for this kind of situation. If we read the emperor in this way,
Hmm.
it is like a caveat. Pay attention not to look for the emperor in your life, the figure to
Hmm.
solve your problem, the one to set everything in order, to establish everything, because it's a it's dangerous. And then I
Hmm.
mean, it's a beautiful metaphor. You
Hmm.
think about King Arthur and Camelot.
That's, I was thinking of
King,
King Arthur. Yeah.
yeah, the king,
Yeah.
one king, one land, and one
Hmm.
sword, one magic. The one is the
Hmm.
other, and the other is the. I mean, if you lose the sword, you lose the power to control the land, to make
Hmm.
the land prosperous. So it's interesting. But we have it
Hmm.
in our gene, the golden age idea, or the idea of the emperor. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it can be a positive card too, of course. But I mean, there is no positive or negative in tarot. There are just different interpretation. And so I wanted to share part of my imagination, my references and paintings and everything that were there
Mm.
in my mind when I created the card. And I think this is a journey that can be very deep, very philosophical, or very challenging sometimes because I want to provoke. I mean, I challenge myself when I creating a tarot deck, and I like to challenge the reader and see what do you think here. What do you think about this specific question or this specific problem? How you will solve it? Because this is the way we can again improve our relationship with others, our life, ourselves. I mean, I really, I realized that it's very, very important for me living and approaching life like an adventure, an exploration. The things that I fear the most is the moment when you stop to challenge yourself. The moment that you say, okay, now I sit here and I relax. This for me is what I fear the most. And
Mm.
I think that when every time I feel a little bit too more comfortable, I challenge myself. And I was thinking about a few days ago, talking about a friend of mine, talking about art and everything. I realized that every time I master a technique, I get
Hmm.
bored and change. So
Yeah.
I did for many
Yes.
years oil on canvas.
Yes.
At the end, it stopped working for me because I said
Yeah.
everything I could say. In Italy, I was celebrated as a poet. I was published. That is quite, I mean, okay, I'm happy. But then one day I stopped writing, and everyone was a little bit pissed off. Let's say, above all the publishers. They said, "Oh no, you have to write again." I have nothing to say anymore.
You know, I'm done
Not with
now.
this
Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
I said what I
Yeah.
have to say. If I
Yes.
write just
Yes.
for writing, it would be an exercise. I don't feel it anymore.
Oh, it'd be horrible.
I mean,
It would be, yeah.
this is the reason why I like to be a multimedia artist because sometimes, you see, sometimes I write, sometimes I paint, sometimes I create an animation, and I balance everything. When a media I'm not into say anymore, I use another one. But
Yeah.
I always go back to tarot because the tarot is the tool that I use for challenge my point of view.
Hmm.
I like it. I like to collect in tarot. I like to have quirky tarot around. Above all, they want it is like a punch. They want to force you to. It's like Munch. If you think
Hmm.
about the scream of Munch, I think it's the scream in English. I don't know if it's the quote is correct or the title of Munch painting, but you know the one screaming on the bridge. It's unsettling as a painting. I don't know if it's beautiful or not, but
Hmm.
it's a shocking painting. But I like that because
Hmm.
that painting forces you to think about. In that scream, there is the agony of our life too, of a moment of our life. It captures something that is incredibly deep. And
Hmm.
so I go back to tarot every time for this reason, because I found inspiration for other things that I do in life. I like to challenge point of view, my point of view, and go on. So I hope that this deck will people will enjoy it, people will find inspiration, intuition, new storytelling, and maybe they discover Calvino and they like it. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dialogue, as I said.
Yes. Well, it is very, just to respond to what you were saying about the emperor, I remember coming across that card, and it is very, it brings you up short. It really did, because there is the picture of the throne, and if that was all that was in the picture, you would, you sort of think, that's interesting, but the fact that the crown is there on the ground really made me think. And my own response was kind of a surprise, to be honest. Maybe it's the Leo in me, because I was like, well, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it. I'll pick up the crown and I'll go sit, that's fine. But it was just very interesting, because I really was like, oh, I didn't expect that. Okay, now what? Oh, and that doesn't really happen very often with tarot. I mean, it doesn't happen often at all.
It, that,
So,
that was the most challenging part, apart the Miriorama thing, I mean, the technical part, to try to draw cards, above all the major arcana, they are focused on characters, many of them are characters, remove the character
mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
leave the meaning intact. It was
yes.
an incredibly intriguing and interesting
Mm-hmm.
exercise of meaning. And then when I started doing it, I said, I will never work. I challenged myself, and then
Yeah.
I realized that the lack of the characters, when you are used to see it, is
Mm-hmm.
even more meaningful. And then I realized something. When I started studying Buddhism, because I mean, let's say when I became a Buddhist, I studied a lot, and it was a discovery, it was a journey, very very interesting. And then there was something that incredibly intrigued me. The first form of Buddhism, the Buddha was not represented.
Mm-hmm.
It
Right.
was a gap
Yeah.
in a bas relief.
Yes.
So he was present in his absence, and he
Yeah.
was so magical and so powerful because he was missing. I was incredibly shocked and moved by
Yeah.
that because you don't see the divine is a gap. Like
Mm-hmm.
you see all the other characters interacting with a void.
Mm-hmm.
It was not done.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And I realized the same technique, it can be used for realizing tarot. So the emperor is there, but not in person. You see them, you see this presence.
Mm-hmm.
You feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely you feel it.
You
It's
do.
scary too. It's a scary presence because then you feel you cannot every time I watch the card, I keep asking myself something. What happened to the emperor?
Mm-hmm.
Has been
Yes.
killed? Is away? He gave up his throne because he was absolutely furious because it was impossible to rule man. I mean, it's
Yes.
intriguing, and every one
Yes.
of us will do something. A few days ago, I received on the Kickstarter campaign an incredibly intriguing comment. You said before at the beginning that even the figure, the court card, they are just portraits, but they are.
Yes. Yeah.
But one is a queen, is the portrait of a queen without a crown, and the crown is on a chair, on a sofa, nearby the painting to portray her. And few people notice it and said, this is a very dangerous place to sit. I never thought about it, but it's
Yes.
interesting. Easy, I
Yes.
never ever. I mean, I sorted cards for months. I draw it, correct
Yeah.
it. I never thought about it. But this is intriguing because I immediately saw other meaning. The meaning of wearing a crown, living a crown.
Yes.
It's not.
Fascinating.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
fascinating. It's absolutely
Yes.
fascinating. And this is what I like. I like
Yeah.
because there are rooms. You enter, you watch it. There are details. I mean, it's easy to read a room because we are used to enter to leave our space, to enter in museums or in public spaces. We know how to navigate a space. Is our life. Not everyone knows how to navigate into tarot because if you see like a Marseille deck, sometimes you see a figure and then you have to interpret it. A figure is a static figure, like I don't know, justice is justice, the emperor is death, whatever. But if it's a room, I think you will look at it in a different eye. You start to meandering around it
Hmm.
and look for the meanings and look for. It's like imagine entering a castle. You have the key, and they say you can do whatever you want. You oh, there was a theater show. Sorry, it came immediately into my mind. One of the theater, the play that I wanted to see, and I never was able because it was booked. Is called Sleep No More. The Macbeth story that is absolutely fascinating. It's on my favorite play. So Shakespeare. It was New York. It was started everything. Imagine a play played in a building. It was an hotel. The actors are everywhere, so you can follow some actors, and then there is the scene is divided in playing in different floors, and
Okay.
then you can enter in some of the rooms and you can interact, and you open a
Oh,
drawer, and you are part of the play of the
oh,
story of
wow.
Macbeth. And this is the reason why it's called Sleep No More. It's absolutely fantastic. And imagine exploring Taro in the same way. Imagine if you
Yeah.
have the key of a castle and they say, it's like your home. You can open all the drawers, you can meandering around, put your
Yes.
nose wherever you want. Imagine finding, I don't know, photos of ancestors that are not yours,
Hmm.
and you started to see strange cows, strange
Hmm.
attires, or whatever. You start to create a story. Maybe someone looks sad, someone look happy. You start to ask yourself who they are, why they are here, and then meandering around the rooms.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
ask yourself questions. I wanted to have the same feeling, the feeling of
Yeah.
exploring a place.
Yeah, you have to, don't you, in your deck, you have to do that because just thinking again about the emperor, because the whole scene is there, but it's like, well, what's happening, because he's not there, and that's where you look for, at least where, I look for symbolism first, is sort of what's on him. But yeah, it's a fascinating idea to sort of walk into a space where in a sense everything's ready but nothing's happening, and so you sort of what comes into your head is what's happening. It's
Yeah, because
really unique. Yeah.
it's like solving a mystery. Something happened. Because this is
Yes.
the magic of the castle, that in every room something is happening, because sometimes you have a ghost
Yes.
floating on the staircase.
Yes.
Sometimes something happened there. You see the result of an action, but you don't know what happened. And so you can
Yes.
interpret, is
Yes.
something good, is something bad, is something traumatic, is something happy. You don't know. Like, I think the Four of Cups, so the celebration,
Uh-huh.
is a table ready for celebrate something, but there is no one there. And you
Okay.
don't know if they are left, they already celebrated, because there are things
Yeah.
that are a little bit strange, and or if the celebration is still to come. You don't
Hmm.
know. And I think that if you create ambiguous,
Hmm.
ambiguous spaces that are not clear cut defined,
Hmm.
you leave space for interpretation, for
Hmm.
navigating, and you leave space for the reader to put their own emotion, interpretation, and own personality in the reading of the cards. And I think this is important. This is the reason why I said I like a lot of things not explained, because it's impossible, because explaining that, it means to kill the mystery. So, and honestly, I'm creating the deck, but my interpretation is waving. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I see something, and sometimes, I mean, today I was there writing, put together all my sketches for the Emperor for the publishing tomorrow on Substack. And other ideas came into my mind, and I said, "Oh, I never noticed that. I never felt like that in front of this card. When I draw it, I will have something. I was in a different set of mind after 1 year when I have to talk about the card again." And I mean, I was surprised, but I like that. It's
Yeah.
like coming back to one of my old paintings that you don't see for many years, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you are thrown in front of it and say, "Oh, I didn't remember that."
Well, I think we're going to have to let you go because it's been an hour. It's been absolutely fascinating. And I was just checking the time and I thought, how has it already been an hour? But it's been absolutely fascinating. So thank you so much. And just to say that your deck, the Tarot of Crossed Destinies, is still on Kickstarter for another 7 days.
6 days. So it's the last days
Six
of the
days.
Kickstarter campaign. Yes, it was a
Okay,
long
so
time.
everybody, get over there. Yes, get over there and get it. So thank you very much. I can't wait to
Thanks
get
to you.
mine. And yes, so we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much and
Thanks to you.
congratulations. Yay.
Bye. Bye
Thank
to
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.